Good morning, dear cadets. In the last session, we have studied about angular momentum of a single particle about an axis of rotation. Before that, we have learned torque acting on a single particle about an axis of rotation. Now, today we will learn the relation between the torque and angular momentum. The relation between moment of force and angular momentum. I told you moment of force and torque both are same. Moment of force is also called as torque. Torque and angular momentum. Now we are studying this relation just in analog. It is just analogous with the relation between the force and linear momentum. If you remember Newton's second law, what does Newton's second law states? The time rate of change of linear momentum is equal to the force acting on it. So it is rotational analog. The relation is rotational analog of relation between force and linear momentum. We know Newton's second law, that is F vector is equal to dP by dt, rate of change of linear momentum, where P vector is the linear momentum given by mp vector. In the same way, now we are going to learn the relation between torque or moment of force with angular momentum for a single particle. Now, for a single particle, we know angular momentum is given by angular momentum L vector is equal to R cross P, where R vector is the position vector of the particle and P vector is the momentum vector of the particle. L vector represents the angular momentum. We have learned this in the previous session. Now, let us differentiate this with respect to time t. Differentiating with respect to time t, we get dl by dt. dl vector by dt is equal to d by dt of r cross p, and look here, it is a cross product of two vectors r cross p. Now we utilize one more formula of differentiation, one more important formula of differentiation. Just please follow this. duv, differentiation of uv with respect to some function, say with respect to time t, where u and v are two different functions. As you see, r and p are two different physical quantities. Here u and v are two different functions. So we differentiate, first keeping u constant, we differentiate v, u dv by dt, plus we keep v constant and differentiate u. So du by dt into v. So this is the product formula. Product formula of differentiation. We use this product formula of differentiation for differentiating these two physical quantities, position vector and linear momentum vector. See, when we differentiate this, since it is a vector product, we have to follow the order. We should not replace the order, because we know that vector product is not commutative. It is not commutative. Therefore, we have to follow the same order. So first we will differentiate dr by dt and keeping p as it is. dr vector by dt cross p vector. dr vector by dt cross p vector plus keep r vector as it is. r vector cross differentiate now p dp by dt. dp by dt. So we have followed this product formula. If u and v are the two products to be differentiated, then keep one function constant, differentiate the other one, plus differentiate the other one and keep the second one constant. du by dt into v plus u dv by dt. This is the product formula of differentiation. Same thing we have applied here. dr by dt into dr by dt cross p plus r cross dp by dt. Now look at this. Here in this we are getting dr by dt. Rate of change of position vector gives us velocity vector. Here dr vector by dt gives us velocity vector. And what is p vector? P vector is momentum vector. So if you look at only the first bracket, so first bracket vanishes, first bracket becomes 0. Why? Let us see how it becomes 0. dr by dt cross p. I am writing it as dr by dt as v. v vector cross p. What is p vector? mv. mv. See, m being the mass, being a scalar quantity, we can take out m. So it becomes m into v cross v. And we have studied properties of vector products. V cross v means these are parallel vectors. Therefore, the vector product of parallel vectors vanishes. Therefore, it becomes 0. Because vector product of parallel vectors vanishes, since the angle between them is 0. Therefore, v cross mv becomes 0. So the first bracket, the first term becomes 0. You are left with only the second term, r cross dp by dt. And you see, what is dp by dt again? dp by dt gives us rate of change of linear momentum. According to Newton's second law, rate of change of linear momentum is force. So we get r cross f. What is r cross f? Recall, r cross f gives us torque. That's how finally dl by dt, which is d by dt of r cross p, gives us r cross dp by dt, which is also equal to r cross f. That is equal to torque 2. Thus we are getting dl by dt equal to torque 2. Let me finish it on the other side. Thus we get dl vector by dt equal to r cross dp by dt, and we know dp by dt as equal to f by Newton's second law. Therefore, I will replace this as r cross f vector, which is dl by dt. Thus, r cross f, we know from the previous knowledge, it gives us torque 2 vector. Torque 2 vector. Therefore, finally we get dl vector by dt is equal to torque 2. So this is a rotational analog of Newton's second law. dp by dt equal to force F. In the same way, for rotational mechanics, for body undergoing a pure rotational motion, dl by dt, for a particle undergoing rotational motion, dl by dt gives us torque too. So rate of change of angular momentum of a particle acting about a axis is equal to torque acting about that point, about that axis. Thus I can write, therefore time rate of change of angular momentum, time rate of change of angular momentum of a particle about an axis particle undergoing rotational motion about an axis is equal to the torque acting on it, the torque acting on it. So you can say this is just analogous to Newton's second law, dP by dt is equal to external force, which is Newton's second law for a particle, for a force acting on a particle. Rate of change of linear momentum of a particle is equal to the force acting on it, and the force acts along the direction of change of momentum, or change of momentum takes place along the direction of force. This is what we have learned in the mechanics, that is motion along a straight line. It is Newton's second law. In the same way, this is Newton's second law for rotational motion. You can say time rate of change of angular momentum of a particle about an axis is equal to torque acting on it. This you can call it as Newton's second law in rotational mechanics. Rotational motion. For a particle undergoing rotational motion, we get dl by dt equal to torque tau. Now, after learning this, we are going to generalize this for system of particles. Consider a system of particles, then we will calculate total angular momentum, and we will relate this total angular momentum with torque as we did for single particle. Now consider there is a system of particles, then we need to find out total angular momentum. Total angular momentum of a system of particles. We can consider a system of n number of particles. Then this becomes vector sum of all the momentum, vector sum of all the angular momentum of all n number of particles, of n particles. It means now we are using capital L vector. Capital L vector represents the total angular momentum of system of particles. Capital L vector is equal to L1 vector plus L2 vector plus L3 vector and so on up to Ln vector. So this is a vector sum of all the angular momentum. This can be written in short, summation of all Li's, where I starts from 1 to n vector, where you can say Li corresponds to ith particle. Ith particle may be 1 to ith particle may be 1, 2, 3. In general, it may be 10th, it may be 13th. So summation of all such vector products, in short, mathematically it is written as sigma I equal to 1 up to n Li vector, where I can write Li vector corresponds to angular momentum of ith particle, cross product of position vector of ith particle and momentum vector of ith particle. So this gives us the summation of Li vector, which can be written in this fashion. So this can be again written as, you can write as R1 cross P1 vector plus L2 vector is R2 cross P2 vector and so on, plus Ln vector can be written as Rn cross Pn vector. So instead of writing this complete step, we can write in short summation of I equal to 1 up to n Ri cross Pi vector, Ri cross Pi vector. Thus, in short, I can write total angular momentum is equal to summation of vector sum of all the angular momenta of particles I equal to 1 up to n, which is equal to summation of I equal to 1 up to n Ri cross Pi, Ri cross Pi. So this gives us the total angular momentum. Now if we want to relate this with the torque, differentiate this with respect to time t, so that we will get dl by dt. So dl by dt gives you d by dt of L1 of first particle, d by dt of L2 of second particle, and so on, d by dt of Ln vector of nth particle. So that gives you d by dt of summation of Li vectors. So that's how we are going to write it. Differentiating with respect to time t on both sides, we get dl vector by dt, dl vector by dt equal to, I can write one step here, dl1 vector by dt vector, dl1 vector by dt plus dl2 vector by dt plus and so on, dln vector by dt, which is nothing but d by dt of this summation, d by dt of summation of Li vector I equal to 1 up to n. So that can be written as d by dt of summation of Ri cross Pi. So this summation can be taken out. So if we take out this summation outside, we get d by dt of Ri cross Pi, Ri cross Pi, where Ri cross Pi refers to the position vector of ith particle and momentum vector of ith particle. So we know Ri cross Pi, if we differentiate this for a single particle, we got this result as torque 2. So that gives us torque 2. So this is, I am going to write directly summation of torque 2I vector, where I will write here, where 2I vector refers to d by dt of Ri cross dpi by dt. Just now we have proved for single particle, torque acting on ith particle, torque acting on ith particle. So summation of all such the torques acting on all the n particles gives us the time rate of change of angular momentum of the entire system of n particles. Time rate of change of angular momentum of the entire system. That is equal to the torque 2. This is how we relate the relation between the total angular momentum of a system of particles and the moment of force. Moment of force means torque. So that we are going to conclude. Here we write total torque acting on ith particle. Torque acting on ith particle can be written from this equation as Ri cross Fi, where see we have replaced Fi with dpi by dt, that is Fi is the total force on ith particle. So it may be first particle, it may be second particle, it may be third particle. In general, for ith particle, the total force acting on the ith particle. Now when there is a system of n number of particles, now total force acting on ith particle is sum of external force and internal force. Here total force on ith particle is Fi external plus Fi internal. Net force acting on ith particle due to internal forces plus net force acting on ith particle due to external force. That gives you total force vector on the ith particle. Now previously we have discussed for a system of n number of particles, we have discussed the net internal force becomes 0. The net internal force becomes 0 because of the interaction F12 on first particle due to second one is equal and opposite to F21, that is force on second particle due to first particle. Newton's second law, Newton's third law. For every interaction, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Therefore, F net internal force, Fi internal force becomes 0 using Newton's third law. Therefore, net internal force on the particle, on the ith particle is 0. This implies total net force acting on the ith particle is purely external. Therefore I can write Fi, total net force acting on the ith particle, is equal to Fi external, because internal force becomes 0. Therefore, I can substitute this now. Total torque, therefore, total torque on the ith particle, summation of tau I is equal to tau, which is purely external, tau external force, tau due to external forces, tau due to internal forces cancel each other. You can write here as we have analyzed here, tau due to internal forces, tau internal torque of the system of n number of particles vanishes due to Newton's third law. Therefore, we now conclude, therefore, rate of change of angular momentum of the system of n particles is equal to net torque, which is purely external. net torque, which is purely external, which we got it as summation of all toe i's, which is net torque, where toe external is net external torque. Net external torque acting on a system of particles. Therefore, as we got dl by dt as equal to sum of all the rate of change of angular momentum of all the particles, finally we get this result, summation of this, and this summation finally we write it as dl by dt acting on the entire system of n particles rotating about a fixed axis is equal to the net external torque acting on the entire system of particles about that axis of rotation. This is how we conclude the relation between the angular momentum and moment of force for system of particles. Generalizing from single particle, we are writing the equation for entire system of n number of particles. Okay, this is going to give us very important result, that is law of conservation of angular momentum. Law of conservation of angular momentum. Let us see. Now we got total torque acting on a system of particles is equal to time rate of change of angular momentum. Total torque to external is purely external equal to dl by dt, rate of change of angular momentum. Just like total force equal to rate of change of linear momentum, in rotational mechanics, total external torque acting on a system of particles is equal to time rate of change of angular momentum of a system of particles acting about an axis. Okay. Now let us see what is the meaning of conservation of angular momentum. In case for a system of particles which is undergoing pure rotational motion, it is already undergoing rotational motion. Now if the external torque acting on the body is zero, if external torque acting on the system of particles is zero, that is toe external, the net external torque, if it is zero, then what happens to this equation? Then the dl by dt becomes equal to 0. dl by dt equal to 0. It means time rate of change of total angular momentum becomes 0. With respect to time, the angular momentum does not change. When no external torque acts on a system, that is what we are going to call it as an isolated system for a rotating body. For a body undergoing rotational motion in an isolated system, when there is no external torque acting on the system, then the angular momentum does not change with respect to time. Angular momentum does not change with respect to time means angular momentum of the entire system of n particles remains conserved, remains constant. This is the meaning of law of conservation of angular momentum. This implies total angular momentum vector remains constant. It means we got total angular momentum L equal to L1 vector plus L2 vector plus and so on of all the n number of particles. This entire vector sum becomes equal to 0. This is the meaning of law of conservation of angular momentum. So you can write the statement: in an isolated system, when no external torque acts on the system, then total angular momentum of system of particles remains constant. This is called as law of conservation of angular momentum. Now I can write statement. In an isolated system, so the meaning of isolated system, I am writing in the bracket. When no external force, no external torque, when no external torque acts on the system, the total angular momentum of the system remains constant. Remains conserved or remains constant. This has got practical applications which we are going to discuss later. So what are the practical applications of conservation of angular momentum? We are going to see later. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.